Welcome back to the crypto world. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is getting ready for its next major move in the markets because right now we're seeing these two indicators currently squeeze the price, getting it ready for the next explosive move. In just a moment in this video, I will be going over my next Bitcoin price targets, my Bitcoin strategy, and later in the video, I'll also be covering the Bitcoin order books across all of these exchanges because right now there's something really interesting happening on all of those order books. And also later in the video, because a lot of people have been discussing on social media whether this might be a bull market or a bear market. Towards the end of this video, I'll be going over those two different scenarios and what we would actually need to confirm a bull or a bear market. So definitely make sure you're watching all the way to the end so that you're not missing out on any of this valuable information. And just before you jump into it, be sure to leave a like on the video down below. And if you're new to the channel, you might as well subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on so that you're not missing out on any of these future videos. Subscribing and leaving a like down below costs you nothing and it only takes a couple seconds out of your day, but it really helps out the channel so much, and I really do appreciate all of your support. But anyway, with all of that out of the way, let's get straight to what this video is about. So right here, we're on the Bitcoin US dollar chart on the 4-hour time frame, and as you can see here, first of all, after that crash that we saw around 3 days ago, pretty much immediately after, I let you guys know that it's actually very likely we're going to see a lot of sideways price action after this crash. We're not going to see an immediate recovery or anything, and of course that's pretty much exactly what we've seen over the last 3 days, once again after the crash there. But soon the Bitcoin price will have to choose the next direction that we will be heading. And right now the parabolic stop and reverse indicator is in a short-term downtrend just on the 4-hour time frame. And by the way, for the new viewers on the channel that don't know what this indicator is, I actually covered this indicator in more detail in some of my recent update videos here on the channel. So after you finish watching this video, definitely go back on my channel and watch a couple of my recent videos that I posted over the last 1 to 2 days. But anyway, once again, we've got the parabolic stop and reverse indicator right now coming in at around $47,500 US dollars. And then of course, we've got the 50-day exponential moving average. This is another indicator that I've been talking about for quite some time here on the channel. Right now, that is coming in at around 45.2K approximately. Now, this moving average is actually acting as support for the Bitcoin price. As you can see, we've already bounced along it multiple times, and in previous bullish trends, this has acted as support, and something that the subscribers would already know by now. But also what's interesting about this moving average is during a bearish trend, it actually provides resistance for the Bitcoin price. Now, the parabolic stop and reverse indicator doesn't necessarily provide resistance for the Bitcoin price. It just signals to us that we are in a short-term downtrend. So if we break above it, once again, it doesn't provide too much resistance, but if we do break above it, then that is signaling that we are beginning potentially a new uptrend just in the shorter term. Once again, we're only on the 4-hour time frame here. And obviously really soon, probably within the next 2 days or so, we're likely to choose a direction for the Bitcoin price, either breaking this important moving average or breaking above the parabolic stop and reverse indicator, beginning a new uptrend. And of course, these indicators are changing over time, so they're not going to be at the exact same price as what I'm saying right now. So that's why it's also important to not only have your notifications turned on when you're subscribed to this channel, but also make sure you're following me over on my Twitter account. The link to my Twitter is in the description down below if you want to get all of these extra updates throughout the day in real time. And now, if we're paying attention to the RSI here on the 4-hour time frame, of course, initially we actually saw a small bullish divergence as the price was actually heading to the downside when you're looking at the actual candle bodies here. But the RSI on this 4-hour time frame was heading to the upside at that stage. So once again, that was signaling that we were due for some sideways price action sometime soon, because essentially a bullish divergence basically just means that the selling pressure is going to reduce in the short term. And that's exactly what we've seen just here. But right now, the RSI is beginning to slightly head to the downside. Obviously, it hasn't started a massive downtrend just yet, but this just shows signs of weakness in the Bitcoin price, the fact that we're not actually heading strongly to the upside here. And when you're zooming out to the daily time frame for Bitcoin, it actually doesn't look too good. As you can see right now, the parabolic stop and reverse indicator is sitting in the red, showing that we are potentially starting a downtrend on the daily time frame. But also keep in mind that the parabolic stop and reverse indicator can actually have a few false indicators, as we've seen recently over the past 1 to 2 months. And of course, the RSI on the daily time frame is also not looking too good for the Bitcoin price. We are in a small downtrend for the daily RSI. And this was also something that I was covering on the channel almost every day for pretty much the entire second half of August. I was letting you guys know that the uptrend in the Bitcoin price on the daily time frame is obviously losing momentum. The bulls are losing momentum and the RSI is starting a downtrend. So that is actually not too good. And obviously right now we are seeing a little bit of bearish price action, But if this continues further to the downside, then we can indeed see some more bearish price action come into play. Now, something that's actually great news for all of the Bitcoin bulls out there, that would be the Bitcoin order books across all of these exchanges. For example, right here, we've actually got a lot more buy orders for Bitcoin to the downside than we have sell orders for Bitcoin to the upside, which means that the bulls right now are outnumbering the bears, believe it or not. Now, in the immediate short term, at the current prices, that might be a different story. But when you're looking at these further prices to the downside, so for example, on the very left here, we're looking at around 43,500 US dollars, and all the way on the right here, we're looking at just above 48,000 US dollars. So basically, for the Bitcoin price to go to these much lower prices, I'm looking at around 40,000, the low $40,000 price range just there. We would actually need a lot more Bitcoin getting sold onto the market. So a lot of people would have to start selling Bitcoin again out of nowhere. And as for a recovery to the upside, we really need to get above around 47,000 US dollars. And just by hiding my face cam, you can see here that the sell orders actually flatten out after around 47,000 US dollars per Bitcoin. There's not too much selling pressure above that price. And now, obviously, these aren't all of the Bitcoin exchanges. There's still a lot of big exchanges in here like Kraken, Bitfinex, Bitstamp, Gemini, for example. But another couple Bitcoin exchanges that aren't on that list just here is, of course, Coinbase and also Binance. They're probably two of the biggest exchanges out there. And as you can see, we're actually seeing pretty much the same thing in the order books on these two exchanges as well. Looking at the Coinbase order books, we're seeing a lot more buy orders to the downside than we are seeing sell orders to the upside. Just quickly hiding my face cam once again so you can see the sell orders to the upside. Right now, to push the Bitcoin price towards 50,000 US dollars on Coinbase, you would need to actually buy around 30 to 40 million dollars worth of Bitcoin to push the price up towards 50,000 once again. But to push the price down towards 40,000, you would need to sell around 80 million dollars worth of Bitcoin. So for the beginners out there, that just basically means that there's a lot more buying demand to the downside at these lower prices compared to the selling pressure at these higher prices. And we're seeing the exact same thing over on Binance as well. This is also another massive exchange. In the immediate short term, looking at, a few $1,000s away from the current Bitcoin price, we're actually seeing not too much difference between the sell orders and the buy orders, within about 5% of the Bitcoin price once again. But after you get around 8 to 9% away from the Bitcoin price, then the buy orders vastly outnumber the sell orders to the upside, as you can see here. In fact, right now on the Binance exchange, if you want to plunge the Bitcoin price down towards 40,000 US dollars, you would need to sell roughly around 2,500 Bitcoin, which at the current price of Bitcoin is over 110 million US dollars. But to make the same percentage gain to the upside, which would put the Bitcoin price at around 51,000 US dollars, you would only need to buy around 1,900 Bitcoin, which is right now just over 80 million US dollars. So once again, you need around 80 million US dollars to push the price above 50,000 and 110 million dollars to push the price just down to 40,000. And remember, that's only on the Binance exchange. So obviously that doesn't mean that we can't go down. Obviously, it's still possible that we can see some more bearish price action, but all of this basically just means that the bulls are actually right now looking a little bit stronger than the bears, because once again, right now you would need to have more money to push the price to the downside than you would need to actually push the price to the upside. All right, now getting into an important discussion about whether or not we could be in a bull market or a bear market. Obviously, ever since that market low that we saw during March 2020, the Bitcoin price has been in a very strong bull market so far. And if Bitcoin were to follow the same sort of cycles that it has followed in the past, then technically speaking, we should still be in a bull market right now. But the reason why a bear market is even in the discussion at the moment is because that right now we actually are potentially seeing some early signs of a bear market. And obviously you want to know about these signs as early as possible. So this is really important to keep watching. By the way, this is the Bitcoin weekly time frame. So for the beginners out there, each one of these candles is an entire week. And as you can see here on the weekly time frame, right now we are technically in the middle of potentially forming a lower high, a macro lower high, which is technically speaking the first sign of a potential bear market. Now, obviously this weekly candle hasn't even finished yet. We've still got around 2.5 days to go before this weekly candle even closes. So technically speaking, this candle could end up closing as a green weekly candle for all we know. So we need to actually see this weekly candle close red. And more importantly, if we start closing below some other important areas of support, which I'll mention in just a moment, that's how you know that we will confirm this as a top just here. And basically, if this is confirmed as a top within the next few weeks, then yeah, once again, obviously that will be a macro lower high. And that is really the first major sign of a potential bear market, because as you can see here, pretty pretty much every single time we see a macro lower high form on the Bitcoin weekly time frame, that basically signaled a bear market that actually came over the next 6 to 12 months. Now, what's another sign of a potential bear market? Well, normally in a bull market, we actually see a rise in volume as the price is rising, as you can see here, because everyone is jumping into Bitcoin, everyone's getting excited, everyone's getting euphoric like what we saw during 2017, and obviously the volume on exchanges goes crazy right into the peak of the bull market. And then once we reach the all-time high for Bitcoin and actually top out for the bull market, the volume on exchanges actually rapidly drops off to the downside in the following months, as you can see. And looking at what's been happening recently over the last few months, ever since we saw the all-time high for Bitcoin, the volume has been rapidly declining to the downside. Now, just earlier when I was saying that we need to close below some important levels of support to potentially confirm this as a top, probably the single most important support level that I am paying attention to right now for the Bitcoin price is the 21-week simple moving average. That is this green line just here. Right now, this moving average is coming in just below 43,000 US dollars. And obviously, if we were to see a break below that level, we need to see a weekly candle close below that moving average to confirm a break below it. And now going back throughout Bitcoin's entire price history, looking at previous bull market and bear markets, as you can see here, this was that famous 2013 two-phase bull market. Now, for a brief time period in the middle of that major bull market throughout 2013, once again, the price actually dipped below the 21-week moving average for roughly around 2 months, and then we broke back above it and stayed above it for the rest of the bull market. So that was actually a sign that we were still in the bull market once we actually broke back above and stayed above. That is the key thing to remember. But the moment that the Bitcoin price broke below this moving average, again, this was in the beginning of 2014 at the start of that bear market, the Bitcoin price did actually see a bounce to the upside, as you can see, back above the 21-week moving average. We also saw an immediate retest of this 21-week moving average right here during the middle of 2014. But the moment that the price broke below it a second time in a row, the second time within just a few months, and we confirmed that with a weekly candle close well below the moving average, once again, that signaled the bear market that was starting next for Bitcoin. Now, looking at the 2017 bull market and the 2018 bear market, as you can see, throughout 2017, we were seeing multiple bounces along the exact 21-week moving average that was providing huge support. But the moment we broke below the moving average, obviously that was the first sign of a potential bear market. We did actually see a bounce back above it for a brief period of time, but the fact that the price could not hold above the 21-week moving average and we fell below it again, that was actually a major signal that we were beginning the 2018 bear market. So right now, we are currently holding above this moving average, which is why I'm saying these are potential signs of a bear market, not a bear market confirmed right now, because if the price stays above the 21-week moving average, then this entire time period just here could potentially be that middle of the bull market phase that we were in during the middle of the 2013 bull market. But if we break back below the 21-week moving average with a strong weekly candle close below that range, once again, I'm talking around 42 to 43,000, anything below that, especially down towards that $30,000 price range, then it is actually quite likely that we could be starting a bear market for Bitcoin. And on top of all of that information, of course, we have the RSI here to look at as well. During a Bitcoin bull market, we actually stayed towards the top of the RSI bands because obviously during a bull market, the Bitcoin price is keeping its strength. It's looking very strong on the weekly time frame. And then the moment that we break below these support lines just here in the RSI and we actually lose this upwards channel, that was also a sign that we were beginning the next bear market for Bitcoin when we actually broke into this lower range of the RSI. And if you take a look at what's happened recently on the weekly charts, looking at the weekly RSI, of course, we were in this uptrend on the weekly RSI, and then we actually began a downtrend, broke below the weekly RSI with that huge crash during May. And then right now with that pump to the upside over the last 1 to 2 months, and that small crash that we've only seen a few days ago just here, that was potentially a retest of this previous line of support, flipping it into resistance, which obviously is a bearish sign. So I would probably give the Bitcoin price 1 to 2 more months to actually figure out whether we're still in a Bitcoin bull market or Bitcoin bear market. Once again, if we're still remaining above the 21-week moving average, that is great news for the Bitcoin bulls. So right now, we can definitely still be in a Bitcoin bull market. But once again, at the moment that we really start breaking back below the 21-week moving average, and if we do actually make it back towards that $30,000 price range, then those are simply all the signs of a Bitcoin bear market. And obviously, there's no reason for me to have a bearish bias in Bitcoin. I own a lot of Bitcoin. I'm just letting you guys know the real data, the real facts and evidence that are currently in front of us. And so the next 1 to 2 months will truly be a deciding time in the Bitcoin market. And right now, my Bitcoin strategy hasn't changed. So at the moment, I'm not going heavy into Bitcoin, but I am currently dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin. And if we do see anything else actually play out here, then I will be keeping you guys updated, and I'll also update you guys on my brand new Bitcoin strategy moving forward if anything changes. And once again, if you want those updates in real time with no delay, definitely check out my Twitter. The link to my Twitter is in the description down below. But anyway, that's just about everything I have to say for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to drop a like down below. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe with notifications turned on for more videos like this one. And even if things might be looking a little bit more bearish, the bearish times are actually some of the most important times to stay active in the crypto markets, because it's during the bearish times that we see the biggest opportunities. Seriously, the biggest opportunities are in the bearish times. So there's never been a better time to stay active in the crypto markets, and there's also never been a better time to share these videos around with your friends. But anyway, that's just about everything I have to say for this video. Once again, I really hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next video.